MetroPolitics on Jewish Week TV. We're here in Lower Manhattan with the Borough President himself, the Honorable Scott Stringer. Thank you so much for being here.
Good to be on the show. Nice to see you.
Good. Well, let's get straight to the issue of the day. Obviously, the biggest controversy going on in the city right now, the Ground Zero Mosque, only a few blocks away from here, proposed. It's becoming a big lightning rod. You're a supporter. Most of the city elected officials are supporters. Why has this become such an issue, and how do you think it'll be resolved now that the Landmarks Commission has given the go-ahead?
I think that this issue has been blown way out of proportion. There are real issues relating to terrorism, terrorism funding in the city, and that's what we should be thinking and talking about. I believe that this Cordoba initiative, which is for a cultural center that will involve many different faiths, is something that has a right to go forward. We should not, as a government, try to seize someone else's property or discriminate against somebody based on religion. And while some have said, well, why would there be any kind of proposal right near Ground Zero? It then begs the question, well, if it's 2 blocks away, is 10 blocks away enough, is 40 blocks away? We can debate this forever. But let's really talk about what we have to do in and around Ground Zero. We've got to build a memorial, we've got to redevelop this community, and we have to fight in Washington to get our fair share of terrorism money, because the borough I represent is still the #1 terrorist territory in the world. And that's something that we have to focus on. And I do think that Sarah Palin and Newt Gingrich and a lot of these Republican extremists are trying to divide us, gin up this debate. And I think at this point it's becoming counterproductive.
From your point of view, any legitimate concerns about this group, the funding of the group, or is it all just anti-Islamic?
Every group that causes concern as relates to funding. But look, Ray Kelly, the FBI, Homeland Security, any kind of hint of any kind of terrorist connection would be rooted out and people would be arrested. And I think everybody knows that. That's why we're so fortunate to have the NYPD and the terrorism record that we have here. So let's put this in perspective. If there's a problem, we'll find out about it. But you also can't make up things as you go along, and right now there's no evidence to suggest that. And I think we should be very careful in how we approach this. We, as a member of the Jewish faith, there's a history of discrimination based on our religion. I think we have to be mindful that if we act like the terrorists, they win and we lose.
The mayor's convening a charter revision commission. We'll be meeting soon. What are some of the issues that you'd like to see on the charter revision?
Well,
when it eventually comes to before the public.
I'd like to see a top-to-bottom review of the city charter. We haven't really had a serious charter revision commission since 1989, some 20 years ago. Matthew Goldstein is a wonderful chair. They have a very good commission. But now they have to come up with real proposals, and I don't think we should simply limit ourselves to the tired old political debate about term limits and politics. I think we should look at city government agencies. We may need to create new ones, collapse old ones that are no longer working. I'd like to see the city create an independent planning office. I want to create a commission on food and markets to take advantage of the food, our food supply, and how we create vertical farming and a whole host of innovative environmental ideas. So there's a lot at stake here, as well as proposals to make sure that the borough president and the public advocate have independent budgeting, so we're not beholden to the whims of City Hall or the whims of the council speaker. We can actually operate as an independent elective office without fear of retaliation. And that's exactly what's happened to my office over the last couple of years. It's slowly cutting us, which means I can't do as much as I used to, so I have to be more creative and spend so many wasted months trying to deal with my budget when I should be working for the betterment of the borough and the city.
Some would argue that the role of the borough president is diminished, and do we even need such offices anymore?
I think over the last 4.5 years, when you look at the totality of our office and the issues that I've worked on, whether they're education issues, health issues, issues dealing with food policy, land use and zoning, the whole spectrum of what we've been involved in. I'm not suggesting we get more money, but clearly the city has benefited from the work that we've done, and everybody knows it. And I would say that the borough presidents have been an integral part of the city governance structure for generations, and I don't think that the mayor or the council speaker should hold our money, not because they want to save tax dollars. That's not what it's about. It's about keeping us in check. You look at what happened to Betsy Godbound with a 40% cut to her office. When she got more votes than all these people put together, I think this time we should blow the whistle and say, stop this. Let's have a charter revision commission that deals with that issue.
There was a story about a grant that your office secured with a firm that was tied to the Independence Party, the wife of the state independence chair.
This is
It was for $35,000.
No, it wasn't a grant. We opened
Contractors.
We bid it out. We had a competitive bidding contract for a database for the office that unknowingly, this goes back years and years, happens to be
2005.
linked to an independent party member, but we had no knowledge of who that was. We never met with them. We had no knowledge of that. And I think that's been made pretty clear. So I don't have any inside information. I've never had the Independence Party line. I really don't know any of these people.
What was the nature of that database? How did it help the taxpayer?
Well, it categorizes and to make sure that our constituents, we can look up constituent names and things like that. But that's when you set up an office, you need a database, you need computers, and that's what we did when we first took office. There was an article in the Post, which I guess is fair game, but we have no connection to the Independence Party. We had no idea that we were bidding for a company that had a connection. And you walk out the door, air conditioner hits you on the head, and you say, wow, I shouldn't have been at that moment, but I understand.
Now, you're getting married in a few weeks. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Mazel tov.
Thank you very much.
And I understand that you are taking a stand on a matter of principle. I guess you can never really separate the political life from the private life. You want to talk about the decision that you made about where you're getting married?
Well, Elise and I are going to have a civil ceremony in Connecticut to show solidarity with people who can't get married, members of the LGBT community. And then we're going to have a religious ceremony, a Jewish ceremony with our rabbi a few days later. So it's a very exciting time for our families. And, I'm one of the few people who get to get married twice.
Talk a little bit more about why you made that decision to take a stand. The bill, as a member of the Assembly and the Legislature, you sponsored legislation, you supported legislation for gay marriage. And in this case, although you're obviously well tied to Manhattan, decided to have it elsewhere for a matter of public principle.
Well, I think Elise and I talked about this as a personal decision, and she in particular felt that while she was enjoying the excitement of being engaged and getting married, that some of her friends from the gay community did not have that right, and we made a decision to show our solidarity. The Manhattan Borough President going to Connecticut to sort of get this debate on track in the state legislature, and I thought the New York Times did a beautiful piece on how we arrived at that decision. And while I realize that you have to separate the political from the personal, I think this is one of those unique set of circumstances where you can do something you feel strongly about personally, make that decision together, and also use your soapbox that people give you every 4 years to move the debate along.
You decided not to have it up in Rhinebeck, New York.
We're having the religious ceremony in Manhattan.
Very good. And your website says spring of 2013. What's your ambition down the line?
Well, we're going to have to see how things unfold in the future. I do love the job that I've been elected to now twice. I can't look into a crystal ball except to say that I'm going to have conversations with people around the city, people who represent different interests in the city, people, whether it's Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Bronx, in addition to the great borough of Manhattan. And over time, if there's a political next step, and my record is as strong in the future as it is today, I guess we'll be having a different kind of interview.
And what do you think about when you're looking across the street at City Hall?
Well, I've got this great view of City Hall, so I watch every move the mayor makes. I want everyone to know I'm right there.
He's done a good job?
I think he has done a good job. I think he's confronted a lot of issues. But I think we have to look at the city, or we Democrats have to start thinking of the post-Bloomberg era, whether that's in 2013 or 2025. I think it's more likely 2013. And we have to figure out what the priorities of the city going forward are going to be. How we're going to deal with education, the economy, how we're going to think differently and take the good that the mayor has done and take it to the next level. And that's something I think about all the time.
Manhattan Borough President Scott Stringer, thank you so much. Mazel tov for the wedding. You have our address for the invitation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and Have a great summer.
Thank you very much.